Let's go over the POE quickly and so that you know what to do for it. And just to remind you, right, so activity 1.1, we've gone over this before quite a few times. It's an essay, and you're going to be dividing it into three sections. Right, the first section is a short summary of the three approaches. So you're going to be discussing what Dewey's notion of routine action and reflection action are. Schoen's view of reflection as a continuous process, reflection in action, on action, before action, and Pollard's framework of those 7 characteristics of reflection. Where do you get this information from? Well, you're going to find that information in your textbook, chapter 1, or in the Warwick reading, which I have put under readings for you. So, a short summary of each of those 3 approaches for 8 marks. It's an essay, so please have an introduction and a conclusion. Then an overview of the purpose of reflection. You'll find a lot of articles that reference this, so you should be able to find the purpose of reflection. And then an example of how you would use one of the approaches, either Dewey or Schoen or Pollard, in your own practice to grow and develop as a teacher. So be specific, say in your maths class or in your life skills class, or be very specific about how you would use either Dewey, and that would be routine action and reflective action, or Schoen or Pollard. And that gives you 20 marks. Question 1.2 is all about yourselves. 1.2.1, what attracted you to being a teacher? Why? What knowledge, skills, and personal attributes do you think you'll bring to the classroom? That's based on Schulman's model of all the knowledge that you need as a teacher. What makes up your teacher identity? It's your own personal values and characteristics, but it's also the content knowledge that you have, the curriculum knowledge, your own skills as a teacher, that you know about questioning, you know about teaching strategies. And how do you believe a good teacher should act, and what sort of teacher do you aspire to be and why? Just a short paragraph, 300 words. That's for 8 marks. You'll see here in the rubric, you always reference to the rubric to make sure that you've understood everything. Activity 1.2.2 is a table. The table looks like this. The document you need there is once again the norms and standards document, because we have gone through it in class. So please go and look at that table that I gave you. In class, we went through this together. If you weren't in the lecture, you need to discuss with someone who was, so that you understand what the pedagogic knowledge was. Where does it come from? In those norms and standards document, we looked at which of the 7 roles would be pedagogic knowledge. It's got to do with the teaching strategies. Pedagogic knowledge, if I have to shortcut it, summarize it, and put it into 2 words, it's teaching strategies. Curriculum knowledge speaks for itself, and subject knowledge. Obviously, you are the subject specialist there. Please have a look at the norms and standards documents. We did identify this. Then for the type, whether you've got the types of knowledge, did you describe this in your paragraph for 1.2.1? You just have to say yes, no to some extent. Your future aspirations, those are generally what you'd like to achieve. This is the column I'm looking at specifically. What specific goal are you going to set for yourself for each of these knowledge types? Right, remember, a goal needs to be SMART. Okay, I'm going to write it here. SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and within a time frame. The easiest way to set a SMART goal is to go to the CAPS document, choose a grade, choose a subject, choose a topic, and what pedagogic knowledge, what teaching strategy do you want to try there first? Curriculum knowledge is about pacing and about setting assessments at the right places in the curriculum. So once again, choose a subject, a topic, and how you're going to plan it using the curriculum. And then subject knowledge, any content that you still want to work on, right? And then how easy or difficult is it to achieve the goal? That's up to you, whether you think it's easy or difficult. The values are also in the norms and standards document. Values like you need to be democratic and sensitive. All right, so find the values there, and obviously setting goals for those are also going to be quite difficult. Um, but that's where the focus is. That's where the application is. If you can set a goal for each of these factors or sections, then I know that you can apply the content knowledge. Remember, POEs are trying to evidence your engagement with the content in the module. So that's why we're looking at this for application. And it's based on the norms and standards document. You can see there 1.2 for your own response, your in-depth reflection there is worth 5 marks, and the fact that you used expressive language in your paragraph. Remember, reflection is about I, not one will, it's I will or I am. It's got to be very personal. So that's the 8 marks for your little paragraph of why you want to be teacher and what knowledge, skills, and values you bring to the profession. And then it's 12 marks for the table, 3 marks for completing it fully and precisely. And then your goals are worth 4 marks. And then the deep awareness is just by understanding what the norms and standards document is saying and whether these goals are achievable or not, and whether you've set aspirations for them. All right, so that's how you get your 12 marks there. Activity 2.1 is Gibbs reflective cycle. We did it in class. It's on page 130 of your textbooks. There's an example of how to do it. So that's how Fiona did it. Right, so there's a very specific example on page 130 in your textbooks of how she answered the questions there. I'm just going to check and make sure that it is there. Oh, sorry, no, it's not 130. It is 230. Sorry, 230. Go and look on page 230 in the textbook, and you'll see how Fiona reflect and the type of language that's required there. Okay, you need to think back to a school-based experience, right? That was positive. So a good experience that you had. And then you're going to use the first 5 steps of Gibbs cycle. And this section is going to be for 35 marks, right? So 35 marks for doing the first 5 sections. So give a description there. The description, what is the lesson? What were your objectives? Be specific. What grade, what lesson, how long the lesson was, what your lesson outcomes were, what happened in the class, a full description. How did you apply your different knowledges? What values did you apply? Then the feelings, what feelings you experienced and what feelings you think the learners were experiencing during this lesson. Those are for 6 marks. Your evaluation and analysis is going to be with 6 marks. For evaluation, what went well, what can improve. So good or bad, what was good, what was bad, right? That's evaluation. Analysis is why. Why was it good? Why was it bad? Why did it happen like it happened? So those 2 are also worth 6 marks. And then a conclusion, right? What you could have done better. For filling in all 5 steps, using them correctly and fully, and completing them fully, you get 8 marks. Okay, so that's worth 8 marks for completing. And use headings, please. Step 1, description. Step 2, feelings, evaluation, analysis, conclusion. What could you have done better? What could you have done differently? For using examples specifically from that lesson that you did, 6 marks, and then having a coherent style and with reflective writing. And so I can see it's your own personal lesson and that you haven't just copied and pasted from the internet. That's worth 3 marks as well. Then the last one that you have to do is a self-reflection guide. That's worth 25 marks. Right. So remember, you have been working on reflection throughout this POE. You've been looking at your strengths, you've been looking at your weaknesses, looking at your goals, what knowledge you have, what skills you have, what values you've got. Now, identify your two most prominent strengths and your two most prominent weaknesses or areas of development. That's worth 6 marks. Then you need to set a concrete goal for each of the strengths and weaknesses. That's worth 6 marks. And then you've got to explain how you are going to achieve these goals, right? 4 marks. What now you need to evidence your engagement with the module. So reflective tools and strategies and approaches or frameworks that you anticipate using in order to reflect on whether you will be achieving these goals or not. All right, so go and look at the overview that I've placed on VC Learn for you. I've placed an overview of a PowerPoint overview of this POE. I have given you an overview of the modules, the 8 chapters that we have already done in the textbook, and a variety of approaches and strategies and tools that we've discussed in each lesson. And so you need to evidence your engagement with the content of this module by explaining how you would use one or two of those tools or strategies or approaches. Remember, we did the ALACT approach or strategy. There's the Gibbs framework as well, Gibbs reflective cycle that you've just done in the POE. Those are that's content from the module that you can use. All right, and that's the POE in a nutshell. So all the best. Yeah, we have got quite a few lectures, so bring your drafts, bring your questions, and I'll be able to help you there. Okay, all the best. Thank you.